Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, it's good to be with you here once again on this evening, this Wednesday evening here at CTM News. Um, we're going to talk a little bit right now. It looks like a frozen up here a minute. Let's cut it real quick to go back because it froze. Okay, welcome back. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there for a minute. Um, we're going to be talking about something today that I'm very interested in this opening statement. Integrity. What is integrity? And what is integrity? Integrity is the quality. What are we doing? We got the music going in and out. Okay, I guess we're I guess we're back. We have a bit of a technical difficulty today because we are streaming to you live. Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Integrity. What is integrity? Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principle and moral uprightness. Do we see that today in today's government? Well, the answer is it is sadly lacking in integrity. The things that have happened since last year, and actually all the way from 2016 with the fight against our former president, Donald J. Trump, and all the corruption and all the things that have gone on, all the false reporting, everything else that goes on in our mainstream media. We move on also to talk about dignity. What is dignity? Dignity is the state of being whole and undivided. This needs to happen in Washington, D.C. We need to be whole and undivided. The word dignity means the state or quality of being worthy of honor and respect. These are the reasons I am a supporter of the Republican Party and conservative values. President Trump said something to my people, the African American people, or blacks, if you will, back in 2016. He asked them how they were treated and whether things happened over the years well for them. And in that statement, he also said, "What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose?" We need to vote our conscience, to vote on policy, especially those that uphold our constitutional rights and freedoms, especially in my concerns are religious freedom. Pretty much, this is a nation of Judeo-Christian values. That's what this country was built on. If you want to be my friend, I demand integrity in my relationship. Well, that's just a basic point. I wanted to get that across today. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you here once again on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. We have a special guest today, Dr. Melissa Weathersby. We will be right back with you in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. I would like to welcome Dr. Melissa Weathersby. She is the CEO of One Dynasty Place, a college professor, life coach, and ordained minister. Boy, she's got a lot going on there. But I'm going to just introduce her right now. Dr. Melissa, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I met you several years ago. You came to one of our women's conferences here in Texas, and it was really a pleasure here, and I'm glad that you could join us here on this program today. Why don't you a little bit about yourself and what you come, etc.
I want to say thank you for having me on your show today. I always just a privilege to be able to share the things that I do know. Um, a little bit
Yes.
about me. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I am a college professor. I own a finance company as well as a real estate company called the Dynasty Group that you can find me at onedynastyplace.com. And you can also email me at that website as well. But I stay pretty busy. I help people with their real estate needs. I help them with their personal finance as well as the life coaching and all that stuff that goes with it. So my plate's pretty full.
Wow. Yes. Great. I brought you here today mainly to kind of discuss some of the issues that are going on right now in this nation, especially with this, what they call it, the American Rescue Plan. These stimulus checks, a lot of stimulus checks have gone out, and a lot of people have already received their money. I saw the stores yesterday were pretty crowded, but please tell us what we should do to make the money that we are receiving from our government last, and how can we save or invest some of it into our future.
Well, that's it's kind of a two-part question or two-part answer, I should say. Depending
Yes, go
on
ahead.
how much debt you might have currently, I'm just really a big fan of making sure you don't have a lot of interest. Or when I say debt, I'm talking like credit cards that have revolving interest, meaning that the interest keeps compounding every time it cycles. Unlike simple
Yeah.
interest loans like your car loan, your mortgage, student loans, those things just have one set, lump of interest and that's it. So if you got credit card debt, I would say that you need to see if you can wipe that out at all if this is extra money. Okay, some of you, this is actually money that you have to live on. So I would say just be very conservative with what you're, it just really depends on if you currently have, work and this is just a surplus. Hey, if you've got debt, pay it off. Continue paying, your debt down with your existing employment. If you're not employed, then I would say be very conservative. Don't be out here spending just frivolously on new stuff because you know you got this extra money. You want to be very careful with what you've got so that you can try to make it stretch.
Well, as you know, of course, we're here in America, so that's a good advice. But a lot of people, they head right to the store. So anyway, let's move on. Uh, I also see here that you are a life coach. And as a pastor, I often speak with people going through various issues and circumstances in their lives involving relationships and finances, involving careers. Could you just briefly give us some hope or give us some direction and opportunities in which direction we should be going and trying to get our life into a place where we are prospering and moving forward. Now, I do know that you can't do this in one session, and you do also have seminars, and I'm well aware of that. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about that as we talk about this right now. Go ahead.
Well, my passion, my background is financial literacy. That is what I worked on with my research, with my doctorate degree. I've got a doctorate of education in adult learning and higher education. And I actually lobbied for House Bill 399, which passed back in 2011 and became mandatory in 2013
Yeah.
when our now Congressman, Joaquin Castro, he was the vice chair of our Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. I have worked at
Okay.
credit unions. I've worked at banks. I've worked, I've had my own real estate company for, 20 years. And I've also, of course, been in education. But the one thing I always tell people is that, if you don't have financial education, it's a life skill. And that's why I went to the Capitol and I lobbied for this. And Rick Perry was our governor at the time. That tells you how long ago this was. And he actually, he signed off on it. And it was almost a unanimous, vote of yes, we need to have this in our colleges. And it only, of course, affected the public 4-year public schools, not the private or the community colleges. But now we're seeing, the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board is now on board because of the student loan epidemic. So I say all that to say that
Yeah.
money being a life skill touches all of us in our relationships, just like what you said, in our, of course, in our finances, but also in the career that we chose or maybe should have chosen. Money
Yeah.
touches all of that stuff. So when people come to me and they're stressed out, it's typically because number one, they didn't have, okay, they're reactive, they're not proactive, and they just have a problem being accountable. So those things together, just kind of in a nutshell, will help a lot of people. Your money should have a plan. Your money, you should have a plan to tell it where to go, because if not, somebody else is going to tell it where to go, as you saw in the stories yesterday.
Yeah,
People
pretty much.
the
Yeah.
market,
Now,
yeah, they're geniuses. They know how to
go
get
ahead.
you to open that wallet. So that they are
Amen.
very astute in how they do that. So I just say all that to say that you know you've got to be accountable. You've got to be transparent. You can't be hiding things. And a lot of people hide stuff from themselves, Pastor. A lot of people
Yeah.
hide from themselves, and so then they blame everybody else. So that's like a whole nother segment for another day. But typically, that's what I see. People don't want to face the truth, and unfortunately, COVID had a lot of us facing truths that we did not have enough in our
Yeah.
savings. Uh, we thought we
Mhm.
could live on credit cards. Well, there's only so much to your limits, right? And then we
Yeah.
thought, we would have a job when everything calmed down, and some people's jobs went away
Yeah.
because of the. So
Yeah.
having
Now
a
you're getting
plan,
into my
also having
next area here.
do
Yeah, I was
what?
about to ask you about that. So we're getting you kind of getting into my next question.
Oh,
But
okay.
there's something I wanted to say. I got two things I wanted to. One thing I want to add is that I don't know what your view is on school choice, but since you're an educator, that's one of the big things that I know that our former president was behind school choice and the parents' right to be able to send the children where they want to send them, whether they want to send them to charter school, private school, and stuff like that, without having to pay a lot of money, but to get them into a good education for their children. I don't know what your opinion is on that, or whether you have any. But if you do have any, you can share with us now.
Well,
Or
you
you
know
don't.
me, I always have
Yeah, I know you got to
I have
figure
some of the
everything.
yes.
Yeah,
Truthfully, of course, I'm the product of a university degree. I did not
yeah,
go to I didn't have an associate's degree. Like, I didn't go to a 2-year school first and then move into the university field. But now that I work for, one of the largest community college districts in the state, I certainly see the value of having a good quality education that's affordable.
yeah,
And I would always say, get your basics there, and even get your degree there. Don't just get basics and leave, because you only have maybe 5 classes you'll need to take to actually get a degree. I say get the degree when you go, and
yeah,
then those courses will transfer into another university system, or a good trade school is always good as well. We definitely need more workforce development type things. And so I see it on both sides,
yeah,
but I definitely don't feel like you shouldn't go to college. You need to go. And I think you also need to do your research, and you need to know how much things are going to cost, so that you are not, $100,000 in debt for, for your degree that you're
yeah,
not going to be making in your career.
yeah. Let's not talk about me now. Okay. But this,
Okay.
me, as far as I'm concerned, I've been using my degree as much as I can use it, to the hill pretty much. But I thank God for this opportunity here at CTM News. I've known you for a few years, and I'm aware of the fact that you are an ordained minister. We all have went through a lot during the pandemic, emotionally, physically, all kinds of things have gone on after this pandemic was declared by the WHO. What is your take on, for the position as a woman of God? How should we handle the stresses and things that we are going through? And I'm asking you this as a woman of God. I know that you're financial, whatever, but I'm asking you now on your spiritual end, how should we be dealing with these things? Because there's so many suicides that are going on. So many people are just getting so down. Could you just share a word on that real quick, if you like?
Oh, certainly. COVID tested all of it, right? It tested our faith, tested our finances, tested our families, tested everything.
Yes.
So this really, I believe, is the time that you should have an established relationship with your creator, with the Lord. A lot of people figured out they had one established with religion, or they had it established with their pastor or their pastor's wife or whoever, but they didn't have it actually with the Lord. So it all starts to me
Amen.
with prayer, and it starts to me with having a quiet time every single day, that you take time to pray, but you also take time to listen, because uh, many of us will have, instructions, and those instructions might not sound like your instructions, or my instructions.
Yeah, I
But if
got
God is
you.
place, because even we got to understand that, when you look in the Bible, and you're going to be able to see where Joseph, they prospered during a famine. He was sowing during a famine, and he was making money. So it's not impossible to outlive all the stuff that's happening if we'll listen to God. See, we're too busy listening
Yeah.
to everything else, God. And so my big thing is, hey, I can encourage you all day long, but you got to let your steps be ordered by the word, and by what the Lord is trying to tell you. Get into your Bible,
Yeah.
and for yourself, not necessarily for
Come
everybody
on.
else, because even when they close their doors and some people don't know how to do, online services, everything just kind of crumbled. But my whole thing is, we need to right now be listening to what God's voice is telling us, and to relax,
Preach
because
it to.
he promises to save us or forsake us. So it's easy to say when you're panicked or you have fear, but that's why I'm saying that you need to lean not onto your own understanding, right? Lean into him, and what is he telling
Amen.
you? Because sometimes
Come on.
faith, not logic. So we just have to
Amen.
trust God.
Yeah, you preaching there. You preaching there, Doctor Melissa. You really preach it, and I'm gonna have you come on my ambassador report program. You can come on in and give a message. That would be good. Well, I thank you for joining me here on the Black Conservative Voice. It's very good to see you again. I wish I could reach out and give you a big hug, but of course, you're a few hundred miles away, but hopefully we'll get together again soon. So once again, it's been a pleasure. I thank you for joining me here. And do you have any closing words that you would like to say before I let you
Thank,
go?
if anybody's interested or needs some, assistance, some coaching, sometimes, these sensitive topics, nobody wants to like put it in the chat what they need help with. But if you want to email me, you can reach me at melissa@onedynastyplace.com. That's the word one, ONE is spelled out, DYNASTYPLACE.com. That's Melissa, one S, MELISSA, at onedynastyplace.com. Feel free to email me, or if you need me to come and speak to any of your groups, your organizations, your corporate functions. I am a seasoned keynote speaker and an author, so there is material out there that I can help you with. And just don't let your pride stop you from asking for help. A lot of us do that, and
Yeah.
the sooner you get help,
And tell us where you could get your book, because I remember that book. I know it's been a while. That first book you did. What was the name of it again?
Are you
The
arresting your
first book, the
blessing?
paperback. Arresting Your Blessing. Yes.
Are
I'm
you
sure they can
arresting your
find out
blessing?
about that on your website too as well. It's a great book. I have a copy myself, an autographed copy, and but anyway, but I'm gonna let you go. It's nice seeing you again, and I want to thank you for joining us here, Dr. Melissa Weathersby. Check out her website at Melissa at onedynastyplace.com. That's ONE. I'm sorry, Melissa, MELISSA at the symbol at DONE. I can't spell here. DYNASTYPLACE.com. Once again, thank you and God bless you. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you here in a moment on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. We do check out Dr. Melissa Weathersby. Her book too. I guess you probably can request that on her email. Email her once again at MELISSA at onedynastyplace.com. That's MELISSA at ONEDYNASTYPLACE.com. Got it right. Okay. Once again, the Republicans held a press conference. I believe it was earlier today or yesterday, and to make a major announcement on the immigration crisis that we're having here at the southern border here in Texas. It was led by Representative Salazar on the broken immigration policy. She's bringing out a new plan. It's will be headed up, and hopefully some of the Democrats, the Hispanic Democrats, will join her in this fight to get the immigration policy reformed and to put into a place where we're seeing better judgment used on our southern borders. And I pray not Dr. but I'm sorry, I'm messing up here. Mr. Biden will be listening as well in his administration. But the plan is called the Dignity Plan. It's to protect the borders, to offer permanent protection to dreamers, dignity path, they call it, and that's allowing people 10 years to get things going on, to get things organized, and after that, a path to it, because we do need to deal with the laws. We are the laws of nations and nations and rules, a nation of laws and rules or whatever, and we need to raise these issues. And one of the things pointed out, and I thought it was very interesting, and I don't think it's a discriminatory practice. And I know that some of the Democrat Party probably will say this, that it's a discrimination. No, it isn't. They're requiring in this plan that they're talking about, the Dignity Plan, that you learn the English language and understand it within this period of time. And it's done in a lot of other countries. If you want to be a citizen in a lot of these countries, you have to learn the language. You can't just say, well, I'm going to be a citizen, come into the country and refuse to learn the language. They spoke about of agreeing on something instead of trying to dismantle all the good done on the border by the Trump administration. We need leaders who will lead instead of having to be right on everything. And unfortunately, let's admit it, the Democrats have this thing where if they're not right, then they don't want to hear nobody else. We need leaders with common sense, in other words. My son said something, and my son, his name is Joshua. He said something a little while ago, and I really appreciated this. My son is a liberal. He may change somewhere along the line. Maybe his dad will convince him. But he said, Dad, he said, I'm not crazy about Donald J. Trump. But he says, I love you. Doesn't make any difference what your political views are. I love you and I respect you for what you believe. And I will honor you and continue to honor you and love you for that very reason. Life is difficult enough without creating difficulties, more difficulties, as the Biden administration has done on our southern borders. Democrats, both in Congress and in the Senate, need to wake up and smell the coffee. We need to have some changes here in this country regarding our border situation there in here on the southern border in Texas. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you in a moment on the Black Conservative Voice. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. Well, I have a tale for you, a tale of two cities and a tale of two governors, a tale of two states, I should have said, but two cities. You know the movie, The Tale of Two Cities, but the tale of two cities and the tale of two governors, Cuomo and Governor Newsom in California. Biden says Cuomo may have to resign, and he urges the public to believe all the women alleging sexual assault. Wow, what a flip on that one. Cuomo needs to leave. This is what he's talking. I'm saying Cuomo needs to leave because even other radical Democrats are abandoning him in the wake of the multiple allegations over womanizing, I call it. Cuomo, including Joe Biden, who has similar accusations against him. So, in other words, when I'm telling you, he's calling the skillet, what he used to say in the old days, the skittle, calling the skillet, calling the kettle black. I don't know if some of you may not be able to understand that because it's too old. The skillets used to be black in the old days. They burned some black so much, they did so much frying in them. But anyway, so Biden faces accusations himself, of course, have been pushed and thrown under the rug. During an interview with George Stephanopoulos for ABC, Biden now distancing himself from the disgraced governor. He previously asked the New Yorkers to wait to see what the investigation will bring. Wait and see. Well, now he's telling them, get him out of there. Get out of there. Which is what should have been done in the first place. If he was a Republican governor, they would have been all over him, and they've proven that in the past. Cuomo has been accused of sexual misconduct by at least 7 women in the past few weeks. Most recently, a journalist named Jessica Bateman claimed the governor harassed her multiple times and multiple occasions from 2012 to 2014. Boy. So that was a tale of one city or one state. That tale there in New York. We have this thing with our governor out there on the other coast in California on the West Coast, Governor Gavin Newsom. Efforts have reached submission deadline for more than 2 million signatures. You don't need that many. All you need is 500,000 to get this thing to go through. You don't need 500,000, but they have 2 million signatures. So the next stage, I'm going to read this from One America News article. The next stage of the effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, is set to begin on this Wednesday, which is the day. Supporters are set to submit over 2 million signatures, which far surpasses the requirement of more than 500,000 signatures. which means it should be 1.5, but now it's 2,500,000 more than needed. In response, Newsom has begun raising funds to defend his seat in a likely recall election. While speaking at an interview Tuesday, the Democrat voiced his concerns that he may face a strong challenge similar to the one former Democrat Governor Gray Davis faced back in 2003. And I don't know, they keep electing these Democrats and they keep having to kick them out. Now, Governor Schwarzenegger, I don't know, he stayed in there for his term and then he stepped down and he was passed over. I'm not sure which one took his place, but I didn't research that history, but he was a Republican governor. But election officials have until the 29th of April to authenticate all of the signatures, and it could take another 7 months before election is formally scheduled. In other words, they're going to push it off as long as they possibly can. But this is a tale of two cities and two governors, California, New York, Newsom, and Cuomo, both corrupt. They're corrupt governors. Let's try to call them what they are. They treat their people like crap pretty much. And I believe Newsom should step down as well as Cuomo. Voter reform is coming to a crescendo in Pennsylvania. While Pennsylvania's fight to bring election integrity back to the Commonwealth, the state Senate is now focusing on legislation that would restore voting laws that were put in place before the pandemic was going on. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you here in a moment on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, in the same line, Governor Abbott called an emergency meeting on with Texas legislators on election and election integrity. He said there should be trust and confidence in the election. This is a statement that is put into the Texas state constitution. He said we must ensure integrity in our elections. It is Texas' constitutional obligation. Purity of the ballot is extremely important. Unauthorized mail-in ballots, I am very close to Harris County, but in Harris County, the Democrats tried to push through 2 million absentee ballots just sent out unsolicited, even in Harris County, Texas, along with a drive-through voting, not legal in most cases here in the state of Texas. In other words, they tried to push, this is Democrats, just in a little area they got. And I also want to share something else with you. When we had the crisis that we had here in Texas regarding the weather that we recently had, President Biden only helped the areas and cities that were supported or had blue leaders or Democrat leaders, the cities. What kind of foolishness is this? We are part of the United States of America, which I'm beginning to regret in regard to the leadership that we are under right now in the Congress and in the Senate. Governor Abbott went on to say that we must have transparencies in the poll. He said we will have poll watchers, and it is unnecessary to have poll watchers of both parties, Democrat and Republican, and to not have this obstructed by anyone as it was done in 2020. Say what you please, it was done. There was a lot of illegalities, a lot of irregularities. You don't throw poll watchers out of the room and curse at people and tell them to get out because they're Republicans and they leave the Democrats in there. What kind of foolishness is this? But this is what was going on. State Senator Bettencourt in Harris County He said that 4,808 were using P.O. boxes as address, which is another illegal practice for voter ballots and using it for their address. We've been told this several times in a lot of states. You can't use a ballot as an address. He made a joke. He says, you can actually live in a 2-inch by 6-inch space. No, that's not a physical address, and you cannot have an address like that. Matter of fact, those types of votes needs to be thrown out. We cannot have people who have P.O. boxes as their address. If you want to vote in this state of Texas, you need an address. And so that we can prove, and of course also, we also require signatures. And we need that to continue also. But as I said before, they tried to push through this mail-in ballot of 2 million here in the state, absentee ballot things here in Harris County, but they were stopped during the prior election. But they attempted to do it. This is just mail it out to anybody to call it absentee ballots. The Democrats need to cut the crap pretty much. They need to cut it out, just like they're doing with this HR 1 plan. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back in a moment with our close. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, we're excited. We want you to go to our YouTube page. Please go there, subscribe, and also click on the bell so that you'll be notified when our programs do come on. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. You can also, I believe, we also come on Twitter as well. And we will be back. I'm not sure if we're on Roku TV right now, but we will be back on Roku TV probably next month. But we're also going to be on Amazon Fire. We're on Amazon Fire as well. Some of you are watching us on Amazon Fire. We had a good viewership there, somewhere up towards $70,000 for 70,000 people of viewers a week. Well, which was $70,000. Anyway, so we are a nonprofit organization. We don't point this out a lot of times, but if you would like to give to this organization, the Christian Time Magazine or CTM News, you can email us and we can tell you where to send your donations. And also we can provide with you letters to use to claim on your taxes. Well, once again, I want to thank Dr. Melissa Weathersby. And please do check her, email her so that you can get into one of these events that she has. They're really exciting. She gives you a lot of advice on your personal finances. She's a wonderful real estate agent as well, and somebody that needs to be looked at for somebody who can help you and guide you into the correct direction as far as housing and things of that nature go, as far as your finances. Once again, her website is, not website, but her email address is Melissa, MELISSA, at OneDynastyPlace.com. That's OneDynastyPlace.com. I'm not going to spell it out right now. But once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And I want to say what I always love to say to you. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth, saying good night and God bless.